Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, January 22, so less than a month, I would say, now till February 20th, when YouTube plans on kicking everybody out like me or kicking us out of the partner program, which I still suspect is part of the first step to larger steps, because it's actually the second step. I mean, they had already said you needed 10,000 views before you can get in there. And for me, a couple things. Like, in the time since this was first announced and now, I went from 222 subscribers to 224 subscribers, which would sound like, okay, I got 2 subscribers, except for I've earned probably about 12 new subscribers. YouTube's old bug, quote unquote, is shockingly showing up right now. I imagine it never was a bug. I imagine it's intentional, and I imagine they've programmed it even more so it is dropping old subscribers in the same number as I am gaining new subscribers. Either that is what's happening, or the fact that I, in an effort to be kind to my fans, subscribed back to them, and that reminded people that they were subscribed to me, so they unsubscribed to me. My channel, I mean, who would do that? I would hate to think that any of my fans had done that, but maybe there were some bots that had subbed to me and they were just waiting for me to sub back, and maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe YouTube looks at it and says, if a creator and a fan are both subscribed to each other, those don't count, and it has to be a one-way system. YouTube kind of does want that. They do say no subs for subs schemes, but that certainly has never been majorly enforced. PewDiePie can sub to whoever he wants to, and almost anybody who PewDiePie would sub to would probably sub back to him. Does that mean those 2 subs don't count? Maybe they don't. On PewDiePie's 60 million subs, who would be able to tell? So I tweeted out somebody that I think people should subscribe to other than me, because at this point it feels like it's not gonna happen. It does seem like everything is fine to not work that way. It seems like I'll still be able to run this channel. That being said, tonight, if you go to at 10 p.m. Central Time, if you go over to Twitch, I am premiering a test video of my intro. Now, to find me on Twitch, you'd have to search Rydo of all with underscores in between it. So RYDO_OF_ALL. That's my account that I've done nothing to, and I don't have a link to anywhere. But I'm going to premiere my intro, and I've already uploaded the one video talking about YouTube kicking people out to it. This is a temporary experiment right now on Twitch to see just if the new systems that they just announced will let you keep videos, keep uploads, and which of the several processes there are now will let you keep videos. Because if I can't keep the videos more than 30 days, more than 60 days, more than forever, which to get to forever is almost impossible. You have to be a big Twitch streamer and have special permission. Then going to Twitch doesn't make any sense. Like, I could re-upload every 30 days all of my channel. I found a website that will automate the process, copy over all the tags, the descriptions, and things like that. It doesn't quite do playlists, but it does everything else. Let's see, today we only need to do really one thing, so if I just play, let's try to win 3 games with the Hunter. Let's see, no Tavern Brawl until Wednesday, I guess. Yeah, I don't imagine that they would be very happy with people uploading and re-uploading and re-uploading and re-uploading every single video you have on YouTube to Twitch just to make sure it's still there. There's a funny thing about Twitch that they say they delete videos. It's really just a curation of their servers more than anything, because legally, assuming they're following the laws, they kind of need to keep all these videos for at least 6 months, I would say, just in case one of the videos that gets posted turns out to be a like terrorist video or a hate speech or something that would be used in criminal or civil court. So somewhere on Amazon servers, these files are being backed up. They're probably being backed up to like tape drives and not hard drives eventually, and maybe that process is very, very fast compared to what YouTube is doing, where YouTube seems like it for the most part is keeping everything on hard drives. I guess I'll play this. But if Twitch changed the rules on that and said, look, these videos will stay up forever, people can search them, people will find them, we're going full competitor with YouTube as far as game streaming, IRL, podcasts, and creative things and competitive eating, then that to me would work. It would work for me. It wouldn't work for a lot of other small YouTubers, certainly. There's still a ton of small YouTubers that are not in those categories that are going to either have to suffer as Twitch decides whether they will allow things or not. Twitch still does not have any kind of video editing that I know of, which makes it makes it a little bit harder, because Twitch also kind of has as strict, if not stricter, control rules. So things like Honey Pop 2 you wouldn't probably be able to play at all, and as I was move things over from YouTube to Twitch, Honey Pop would probably get uploaded, and then that potentially would hurt or maybe even get my channel deleted in the process. So I don't know how I can really avoid doing that, though, because the whole process would have to be automated, and so I'd have to just kind of upload it and then hope I could unpublish things. Twitch is missing a lot of features. It doesn't have end cards. It doesn't have editing. It doesn't have content ID, which I suppose is a problem that I may not have to deal with anyways, because if my entire channel is demonetized, YouTube may just stop sending me emails going, somebody's claiming the copyright on your video. They may just go, yeah, whatever, take money from his videos. And isn't that infuriating as a thought that YouTube would say your videos aren't worth making any money. You're not a valid creator. But if somebody else wants to make money off of what you did, they're totally allowed to. They've already been sending that message, but that's kind of it. I guess in general, I do want people to subscribe to my Twitch channel, just so I have subscribers and we get ready. But I don't think there's going to be a lot of process. I'm still hoping that that YouTube gets a major shakeup. A lot of people at the top get fired. Frankly, they need to be fired or reassigned at least. And there's just enough outrage in there. But there really doesn't seem like there is a lot of outrage. People don't care. The way YouTube has set itself up, you really don't see the channels that have less than 100,000 channels, and I've been looking at every single channel I'm subscribed to, and Half Coordinated, the one I shouted out, is the only channel I'm subscribed to that has less than like 100,000. Maybe there's one other channel I'm sub to that has 90,000. And when I go to the suggestions pages and I'm looking at things that YouTube is suggesting to me, every single channel has at least 100,000 subscribers. And half of the things being suggested to me are stolen content. Like, this is Family Guy getting uploaded. This is a Peppa Pig live stream. Almost everything on the live tab of trending is stolen content that I see. So either YouTube's got me pegged as somebody who really loves stolen content, or live streaming in general is just that. But they all have well over 100,000 subscribers, and they all will continue to be monetized. So it's not gonna stop anybody except for the newest person ever that wants to upload and steal content. But that's not really even going to stop them, because the people that know what they're doing are going to have, you know, like spam bots and view bots to get a channel going before they even start uploading the stolen content. Frankly, you know, if I had a channel that had 1,000 subscribers and 24,000 watch hours, then I very well might think, you know what, this channel's at that point only making me $100 or so. Why not just sell the channel to some nefarious person? That's really what I would think. Is just like, you probably would make more money in the long run, not even in the short run, but in the long run, if you just sold a channel for here's my channel for $500. Go wild with it and start uploading stolen content on that channel monetized. That would probably make you more than just sitting at 1,000 subscribers waiting to make a few pennies a day. So every time I get into this, I guess I'm a little bit more bitter about this every time. I tried on the weekend to talk about that. I keep mentioning Half Coordinated, but the reason why I shouted out Half Coordinated is he barely has 2,000 subs, and he's a speedrunner. He has paralysis on half of his, or semi-paralysis on one half side of his body, so he can only play with one controller, and he speedruns, and you probably have seen him at Awesome Games Done Quick. But his direct YouTube site is not very well followed, and I don't know how much watch time he has, but if he has only 2,000 subscribers, I imagine he probably will be kept in a partner program, but he might get kicked out. So if there's somebody that you think he's somebody I think has a chance, if everybody goes and watches his videos and gets him some watch time, to stay until at least they come back around and say that everybody needs, 8,000 hours of watch time and 2,000 subscribers, which is almost certainly the next thing that's going to happen. And that's why this whole system is ridiculous. But if anybody else knows of any channel they're sub to that has over 1,000 or around 1,000 that they want me to shout out, I'll shout them out. But as for my channel, yeah, I just don't think it's gonna happen. I just don't think 800 subs are gonna magically come. There are people out there, they're on forums that are trying to sub to each other and basically support each other. I might put out some more tweets. On the weekend, I tried to do a weekend marathon. I totally screwed it up. The audio was not louder. People got on the chat, but I couldn't see the chat, nor could I do anything with my computer. So, in that effort to, I was doing Legos all Friday and Saturday. A very big Lego set. Too big. It had too many pieces, and let's see, I can tell you right now how many pieces. 4,002 pieces. Lego set 10255, which is a giant 3-story tall, 3-building plaza. Very detailed, expert level. And it had 6 steps, and each step took probably 4 hours. It needed desperately to have at least one more step that cut out some of the work from the previous steps. Because by the time I was at the end of the 6th step, I was making mistakes and frustrated, and Lego shouldn't be that frustrating, even when you're putting together 4,000 pieces, which is an incredible amount. Usually a set barely has 1,000. So that's what I was doing Friday and Saturday after streaming the Friday stream. And then the way I'd set up the marathon is with an ad blocker on, which that's another thing. At this point, everybody vote your conscience, but I'm thinking I'm going to have an ad blocker on by default on all of YouTube. And unless I find a channel with less than 100,000, because that's really my marker. Unless I find a channel where YouTube is not suggesting that channel, like, I don't want to give any money to any of the channels. I would like to see the fallout from this be YouTube kicks out all the small YouTuber channels, and in retaliation or just in coincidence, everybody's losing. Hey man, keep catching your streams. What? Keep it. You're getting a lot better at Hearthstone. Keep up the good work. Oh, great. Thanks, I suppose I'll type in. Like, I'm not sure I particularly agree I'm getting better at Hearthstone, but okay. If he thinks I'm getting better, I'll take the compliment and move on. If anything, I would say I'm focusing less and less with every stream on actually playing Hearthstone, and more on covering video game news and talking, and most recently ranting about YouTube's problems. But yeah, I would say everybody just should use an ad blocker. Don't get YouTube Red. Don't give any money to any of the channels. If anything, I think YouTube has stabbed themselves in the foot, and if all the money got drained out of YouTube and all the big streamers, which streamers have already said they're going to Twitch, but if a significantly larger amount of streamers came out and said, we're leaving, we're not making any new content on YouTube because we're not making any money, so go over to Switch, therefore Twitch starts to add more features and catch up, then I guess we can just start over. Maybe this really is just the MySpace transition to Facebook, and we're probably would be around the time to transition from Facebook as a social media service if it weren't for the fact that there's nothing really to transfer over to. Twitter certainly didn't work as a social service, and neither did Google Plus or any other attempt. And Facebook is, at the very least, announcing that they're going to focus more on showing friends and family instead of putting ads in front of people. Which, that's a nice change. But, yeah. Ad blocker, if somebody has less than 10,000, maybe turn off the ad blocker. Reload the page, watch their video with ads, watch all the ads through, then turn the ad blocker back on. But I am certainly not in the mood to support people like PewDiePie when they all seem to be touting something that they were told to say, or the opinion that YouTube was making, that creators don't deserve to be fairly compensated. Like, that's what this comes down to, is for me, my channel, the number of views, I wasn't getting paid a lot, but I thought I was at least being fairly compensated. Now they're telling me I was being overpaid at being paid a fraction of a penny for every view. Like, that I actually didn't deserve anything. Like, that's not realistic. Now, I could certainly make the other argument I wasn't being fairly compensated for the amount of time I was putting in it, and then if they were paying me like minimum wage for all the hours I put into making content, I should have been paid a lot more, but I won't go there. I'll just say I felt like I was getting a fair share, an equal share of the pie, which was getting split up amongst a lot of people. And the other issue is the reason they're kicking out people is ridiculous and doesn't solve anything. Like, I might actually feel a little bit better about this if a few months from now we find that there actually is a lot less garbage on YouTube, but that's not the case. Like, you could take a crazy optimistic view and think, well, maybe a bunch of people will decide to quit YouTube, and because they quit YouTube, my videos will get recommended more. I don't think so. Not unless YouTube starts deleting channels and the content that already exists. I would have sworn that was an immune secret. Anyways, I don't want to talk about YouTube anymore. Let's move on. I wanted to talk about the live stream though. So because the live stream was taking up my whole computer, you were just seeing what I was watching. I was watching my playlist just go through it. In fact, my playlist wasn't even set to random, and I wanted it to be. So for 27 hours, it was just cycling through one season of what my channel was. And the audio was horribly messed up. I know my old recordings, the audios were a little quiet, but also I could have fixed some of that. I don't know if I'll ever do another marathon though. I need to get a second computer who would do that. Let's see, this guy wants to test a deck. I'll say sure. Let's just go ahead and concede. Why not? Let's help somebody else out. Let's do a good deed for the day. So yeah, I would need upload time because I couldn't upload while I'm streaming. So if I was going to do a rerun marathon, if I was going to do something like that, then it wouldn't really. I would need to not be uploading anything, which would kind of mean I would need to not be recording anything, and I would need a second computer to run the stream so I could actually play games on my main computer. Like, I couldn't do anything while that was streaming. I was literally unable to browse Twitter, unable to move the mouse. The mouse was on a second screen. I couldn't even change the TV. There was one point where I changed the TV and I was gonna watch just TV on my TV, and that didn't even work right. So I had to, since my computer and my TV are in my bedroom, I was sleeping with 2 TVs on, just so the setup didn't happen. And I couldn't stand it, frankly. After going 27 hours, I was ready. Let's see. I was ready to get back to Resident Evil 5. I've made my own version, or at least trying, of Dragon Priest. Okay. Now I'm supposed to be marked as busy so people can't comment, but it doesn't work. So this guy's getting really lucky. Really, really lucky. But whatever. Yeah, I literally couldn't stand it, and that realization that I desperately wanted to get back to RE5 and play that, and I finally finished the main story on RE5 and looked at the Mercenaries mode. Versus mode doesn't seem like there's anybody playing or the servers are online, so there's some achievements there that would probably never actually happen. This. And then this, and then this, and we'll attack here. Are we playing wild? Yes we are, obviously. You don't have to ask me, you can look right here and see. Although, for me, and this European account, it's not like I have any wild cards anyways. So that's less of an issue than you might think. That one could have played something different. Let's go ahead and protect this guy. Attack this guy in the turn. So there was a story about I think his name is David Cage, being accused of having a Quantic Dreams, being accused of having a toxic workforce, and having poster pictures in which people's heads are photoshopped on other people and it being offensive, and then that the Kotaku article wrote the story from the perspective of these photographs that according to Jim Sterling, who actually did some actual form of news reporting, although his video also spent half the time talking about him playing wrestling in his local wrestling wrestling group. So he's still not my favorite in any form or fashion, but he got contacted by somebody who is an employee of Quantic Dreams, and they gave a very different story. Kotaku's story was weak to begin with because it was written around this idea that some employee somewhere, as a joke, got bored and made a bunch of like pictures they thought were funny. Further information came out that the hardcore ones, the ones that might have been offensive, were kept in a separate folder, and so there was even, it seems, a level of control happening in that, where he was not trying to release the more offensive ones. Like, where the most offensive one I've heard and seen is David Cameron. No, I don't know if it's, or is it David Cage? I think it's David Cage. The CEO himself, with his head being put on a porn star's image, and it's a joke porn star image where it's a guy with his shirt off holding a drill with a marital aid / dildo attached, which you don't do because that will, not only is it not safe because the drill will just drill right through the rubber of the marital aid, but it's also too rough a motion. I don't know why people keep thinking it's a good idea and making their own homemade marital aids. Amazon exists. Just order it. It'll show up in a Amazon.com box, and nobody will be none the wiser. In fact, there was a funny video that came out this week where this kid is opening a box he ordered from Amazon, and inside the box is from my perspective, not being an expert, a very nice looking bong. And he says to his mother, I ordered a Microsoft remote. And then somebody made a video where it's the exact opposite, and they open the box and there's a Microsoft controller in it, not a Microsoft remote, which is what I assume what they were going for. And the kid says, I ordered a bong. We'll see if he wants to play again. Let's see. Hey dude, you play Wild Rice? I fancy crafting 3 legendaries, but I only have enough deaths for 1. These are legendaries. Man, everybody's chatting me here. I'm about to leave. This is gonna break down. There are 3 legendaries to deck that I'm looking to play. Is obviously Reno Priest, but I'm struggling to find what cards performs best. Well, I'd like to ask you for input. Input is look online. Let's see. Check online for the cards value like HS replay. I'll just do that. I don't know. I'm not even gonna put it in here. It's just, I don't know. Yeah, see, and this is no way to run a stream. This is just no way to do a stream at all. Like, thanks, you made my day. Like, I'm streaming. This is why I don't allow this. It's like why I'm here. Let's just, while we're at it, let's just see if we can fix this, because this is just gonna keep happening. Busy. Online. Busy. There we go. Let's see. I'm just gonna go ahead and end the turn here. So yeah, I'm trying to talk about the story and getting distracted, and this is kind of there are different forms of trolling, some of which even people who aren't trolls do, and the distraction troll is kind of what's happening here, whether it's intended or not. People are gonna just keep asking questions, keep talking, keep changing the subject, and I'm just gonna bounce off the walls because heck, I'm a little ADD, and that's well, at the very least, I'm prone to distraction. And if people ask me questions, I have this inert desire to respond to them, even when I should probably just ignore it. And so if anybody else pops up any messages, I'm just gonna ignore it, and I'm not even gonna read it, so I can get through this story. There's also concern trollings, where people ask you questions and they act like they're concerned, but really they're just trying to keep you talking, and it's like distraction trolling. It's almost probably the same thing, actually. And then there's, of course, just good old-fashioned regular trolling, where people are just saying stupid things and saying too much. Or, you know, you can even have people that just talk too much. They post too often for me to follow. And see, that doesn't even get into the fact that these people are commenting to me through battle.net, which means they're not commenting through the YouTube chat system, which means these videos not getting recommended to anybody because of that. I need that engagement if I'm ever going to grow my channel, which my goal still is to grow the channel, right up until the point where I completely abandon it and mark it as private or delete it. My goal will always be to grow this channel, just to get the numbers higher. But back to David Cage. So, well, I don't know how. The thing is, Kotaku's story sucked, and it made a bunch of allegations that were unrelated to the picture. Turns out the allegations that are unrelated to the picture are the fact that, according to Jim Sterling's internal source, current employee that works there, so it is possible David Cage himself is just emailing Jim Sterling, but one has to assume that Jim Sterling's not so stupid as to fall for that, or that some like PR person is emailing him. Maybe some PR person is emailing him. Like, Jim Sterling does not like David Cage, so if he's coming to the bat and trying to explain things at all, or even over Jim Sterling's own SJW desires to always support anybody who claims to be a victim, there's some real meat there. Basically what happened in 2013, the person got bored, or no, I think it was in 2017, so it's pretty recent. The employee who made the photos and had them, I guess, in some publicly accessible folder, got bored, and maybe not even the employee who made them, but a different employee, possibly, got bored and sent all of the photos to all of the people on email. So it's one of those oops, I emailed everybody a link to all of these. And nobody was particularly offended about it except for the IT department. And I've worked in some IT departments that are disgruntled, and this sounds about right. They were upset at these photos allegedly, but I would argue they may very well have been upset with something completely different, and they demanded that the employee be fired and that they be paid monetary compensation. And see, this is where I will editorialize and say, again, this feels like the French being difficult to deal with. Like that the entire IT department is upset because one person acted unprofessionally, therefore they want money and the person to be fired. That's pretty crazy. That's not something that normally would happen. And they didn't get either one of their demands. And so then they stopped the entire IT department, according to this employee from Quantic Dreams. Took a bunch of sick leave and days off and stopped doing their work and stopped doing anything, and they effectively went on a strike. I don't know if it was an official strike. I guess it wasn't, since nobody's using that phrase. And thanks for the games. My phone's about to die. Sorry, if we can send you deck lists for you to try. No, thanks. Not on this account, at least. There's no reason to send me a deck list on this account. I mean, you can message it to me, but I'm just not right now in the business of trying out people's deck lists, even on my main account. I'm not interested in playing more Hearthstone that would require. So yeah, the entire IT department went on a semi-strike over this, and I imagine other things, more realistic things. And as an act of revenge, they put out this story, is what it sounds like. And that certainly is a different twist. Ignoring David Cage's attempts to defend himself, whether they were effective or not, it doesn't really matter. It seems like the real story here is employees got fired because they weren't doing their job. They're upset. Now they're publishing a revenge story. Again, if I was to editorialize this, it seems very much French people being difficult, and I've seen that before, certainly. So I hope the story evolves more and more details come out, but I don't know. Deadshot came on the YouTube chat and goes, I apologize for that, didn't realize you were streaming, and dude, stay chill. You want to talk, then talk to your online buddies. Yeah, I have a slight fear of calling people online fans buddies, because what is that movie called The Fan, where somebody is there's the one movie at least called The Fan where somebody's a fan of somebody, some actress or actor, and they get obsessive about it and turn into a crazy serial killer or stalker thing. And even on smaller scales, a lot of people, like, how many people out there of the 60 million PewDiePie subscribers think they're actually friends with PewDiePie because they see him all day? That number is disturbingly larger than one. Like, because there are people out there. So it's always, my point there, which I'm not making very well, is it's always important for people to have real world friends and then have people who entertain them. And remember that I'm just the mime on the street. Personally, I'm not their real friend. I'm not going to lend you $20 if you need it. I'm not going to pick you up from jail. And there's certainly things I don't talk about on YouTube that are private that I would talk about with real friends of mine. But I understand what people mean. It's just I don't like the phrase friends. But also I don't want to beat up on Deadshot Vet because I'm speaking very generally. Let's move on with the news because there's quite a lot. Facebook signs an esports streaming agreement with the Counter-Strike Go Pro League and ESL 1. So I think that's an old news. Didn't that already get announced? So Dota 2 and Counter-Strike Go will be streamed directly to Facebook. Good for them. I still don't think Facebook is the right place to stream videos, though. Maybe the new Facebook will fix some of those things. I guess that is a possibility. If Facebook becomes more family friendly, maybe a small channel like mine would, when people follow that, would actually see my videos. I don't know, what we would have to see. This would be the point for at the same point where Twitch is stepping in to replace YouTube. If Facebook also stepped up to replace YouTube, that would be more competition. And Twitter is in a weird point. So there's this company called Twitch, This Week in Tech. Twitch came out of G4, the TV show. Leo Laporte runs Twitch. Leo Laporte is kind of a jerk SJW, but ignore that for a second. That doesn't really mean anything. I'm just throwing it out there to slander the man. I guess. To put my opinions out there. And over the years, as I've seen more and more of Leo Laporte, I've wanted to watch less and less of Twitch, which kind of sucks because Twitch is the most detailed, varied series of podcasts talking about news in the tech industry. So they have things like This Week in Tech is the first one in the name of the company, but then there was also, they expanded to This Week in Google, This Week in computer hardware, This Week in enterprise tech, This Week in Apple. Let's see, what else is there? There's pretty much any major topic tech related. There is a podcast that happens either on the daily or the weekly on their network. And so it's a very heavy thing. And it's been in existence before Twitter. The creator of Twitter has been interviewed on This Week in Tech a couple times. Leo Laporte has actual conversations and written correspondence between him and Twitter. And Twitter specifically, the creator of Twitter specifically agreed and said they would never become a video audio streaming site because it would cause confusion, Twitter and Twitch. Well, apparently Twitter is actually planning to become a video streaming and audio streaming service, and so Twitch is suing them. This might be the last gasp of Twitch trying to be something, because Twitch in theory, was trying to be like a YouTube. It was trying to be this platform, except for it was a very curated platform of very specific topics. And in the same time, you would have had things like the CNET's 404, Buzz Out Loud, and I think there was a third podcast on CNET. All of those podcasts are daily gone. Leo Laporte has fired and irritated several people who were presenters on the Twitch network to the point where they're not there. And so you have things like Veronica Belmont and the Daily Tech News Show, and NSFW got the NSFW with Brian Brushwood, and who's the other guy? I forget it. So people came out of that, and that was part of my problem with Leo Laporte, is that eventually he's just alienated and kicked out all the entertaining people, and he blacklists them. He literally blacklists them so that they are never allowed back on the show. His wife also runs the business side, so it's a very incestuous family affair thing. It's being poorly run. The concept of Twit would work greatly if it was just under different management. Anyways, so Twit is suing Twitter, so that might actually stop Twitter from ever doing what it should have done too, which is right now it should be saying you can put your videos directly on Twitter, and we can make YouTube channels and transfer them that way. That would be cool. Although I'm not sure Twitter is ever going to succeed as the one-stop shop for anybody, because it's still impossible to have friends and family follow each other on Twitter without also being overwhelmed by seeing other famous people's tweets. Deadshot Vet, if you don't mind me asking, don't share if you don't want to. How old am I? I'm old, too old to be trying to start a YouTube channel now. I don't give a direct age, but I am old enough that I am not even recently out of school. This is my job, on top of taking care of a disabled family member who I need to be near but really don't have to do too much work for. When I am actually going and working, I do spend, or try to spend, 6 to 8 hours a day recording content. But yeah, age is asked a lot. It kind of doesn't fully connect to anything though, because I have seen some, I mean, not to get political, but I know somebody who's at least 71 who's in a very powerful political position that acts very childishly. Heck, in fact, if you look in Washington, D.C., you'll see a lot of people that are at least 60 acting very childish. And I've also seen and known some really young kids that are wise beyond their years and smart and caring. If there's one thing that we should argue, is maybe we should have young kids in charge of things, because their emotional connection to humanity as a race hasn't been worn away and jaded through time. It's at least a thought. But yeah, I just say I'm old. Old. I'm not dying yet, just my channel. Middle age, ? Depends when I plan on dying. Like, if I was planning on living to 200, I'm nowhere close to being middle age. If I'm planning on dying at 65, then maybe I'm close to that, closer than I'm not. if I was planning on dying at 20, then I'm past my entire life. Like, really, those are just labels that I encourage people to not use and think of, particularly nowadays when less and less is expected of adults, and adults can just act however they want. The concept of a adult acting like an adult has really been thrown out the window. If you go back 40, 50, 60 years, 100 years, everybody was required to act certain ways and be prim and proper and mature at all times. Even kids 100 years ago were required to act like adults, and were basically brutalized if they weren't. That's why there was many instances of the Native Americans in the United States would kidnap children from the Pilgrims in the United States, pre-United States times, and the children would refuse to come back to their parents when they were rescued because the Native Americans let the kids act like kids and treated them nicer than the parents did. If you look at some of those old-timey pictures where kids are wearing full-time suits, that wasn't by choice. That was just a requirement of it. Yeah. Deadshot goes, yeah, I mean, there's a saying, you can be young only once, but you can be immature forever. That's true. And then Deadshot goes lol, and then he says that's depressing, XD. Yep. It's hard to even see any mature adults. Like, a great example is my very recent fascination with Legos. I literally never played with Legos as kids. I don't think I was even given one Lego set as a child. I was given Lincoln Logs, which are total garbage of toys, once, but never Legos. And frankly, I didn't really even have any interest in Legos until I saw tested.com, which is another website about tech stuff that's gone downhill. And they started putting together Legos as content. Part of the reason they did that is because their parents that have kids that played Legos, so they got into Legos as adults too. And so after seeing some of that, I started to get into it. There were specific sets that interested me, particularly the Ghostbusters Firehouse, because I did have a toy when I was a kid that was a Ghostbusters Firehouse, but not Lego. So that was one of the first sets I got. I believe there were... it wasn't the first. First was a Millennium Falcon set. I'm not a super fan of Star Wars or anything, but it looked cool. And I figured, yeah, I'm a nerd. A nerd should have at least a couple Star Wars things on his shelf. I did a pirate ship, and the pirate ship Lego set looked nice on the shelf as if it was just a model of a pirate ship alone, regardless of whether it was built out of Lego. And then I've just kind of spiraled down more and more because people around me, I started showing them videos of people doing Lego and showing off Lego my own creations at events on YouTube. And there's a YouTube channel called Beyond the Brick that I watch a lot of. People got into it more, and I got into it more, and now I am doing quite a lot of Lego these days at a rather old age. So it's not even nostalgia in that case. It's just when I was in my high school years, particularly, I was a stick in the mud frankly. Honestly, I definitely was overly concerned with acting mature and acting smart, and part of that is I was smarter than all the kids in high school. But part of that is also because the area I was in was not particularly the best in education. Education in the United States is not great anyways, so I wasn't being held to a very high standard. But yeah, I was very, very obsessed with acting mature and being an adult, and that culminated to getting out of school and going into the work environment. And then I was obsessed for a while in the work environment about being professional. All throughout your life, not just me, but most people get this message that there's ways you're supposed to live, there's ways you're supposed to act. The American dream, you're supposed to own a car, you're supposed to own a house, you're supposed to have 2.5 kids and a pet. All of those things are told to you culturally. And I achieved all of that. I owned a house, I owned a car, I had a couple pets, and thankfully no kids. And after having all of that and having a decently paying job and all of that, it all fell apart. And I realized I really didn't want any of that. And so now I'm trying to be more honest with myself and just do what I actually want to do and not do what people expect me or I think people expect me to do. And so now, if I was 100 years old and I wanted to do a Lego, I'll do a Lego. If I'm 100 years old and I want to watch a cartoon for 2-year-olds, I'll do it and I'll be happy with it because I've embraced if it feels good, do it as a mantra. Like, I just don't care about pleasing other people at the expense of myself. That being said, I do have a lot of anime on my shelf I still haven't watched, and I can't ever find the right motivation to pull out a DVD and put it in a player. Although I have watched a few on Netflix. I used to be really obsessed with anime. Now I'm kind of a lapsed fan, but I may get back into it. I imagine it seems what happens is every 7 years ago I move from one fandom to another fandom. So yeah. I don't know if I answered the question or not, or just kind of ranted there. But this is the good kind of rants that I used to do all the time on my channel. To be honest, like I used to talk about myself personally and what was going on in my life, but I exhausted all of that and without prompting the questions from the fans, it's just kind of pointless to repeat things that have been said already. I do want to mention this story because I don't have a link for it, but somebody made a nude mod for Cuphead. Sadly, it's not making Cuphead or Mugman naked. It makes the Medusa character naked, which, alright, she's the female character in the game. There's some other female characters in the game that I guess you might eventually reskin or retexture. But from what I've seen, if anybody wants a nude mod for Cuphead, which is an odd choice, they're going to want to see it for Mugman and Cuphead to be involved. Of course, it's a weird choice to make that at all. But nobody's reported on that, so you're not going to see that one on Your Gamer, PC Gamer, Kotaku. That's one of my secret sources from... well, it's not a direct source to me. I don't want to misrepresent it. It's a website that covers some stranger things straight from Japan, and because of that, they get reports about things that don't get play or coverage here. I need more websites like that where I could talk about stories that aren't just getting repeated and retweeted over and over again. Giant Bomb is a great example of a place that just, they don't put out any tweets or anything of news that they create. They're not actually creating any news. They are, at the very least, now back to doing some quick looks, so they're doing some work at least, but yeah. And PC Gamer, Your Gamer, Rock Paper Shotgun are all the same company, so if one of them makes an article, they're probably contractually obliged to retweet or make an article that's exactly the same. Let's see, I need to play Shaman or Rogue cards. Let's see if we can find a Rogue deck that's full of Rogue cards. Yeah, this one is. That'll work. I have not been breaking up my recordings much lately, but I think we still got a ton of news to go, and we've gone 45 minutes. I might get down to the point where these streams are just minimum an hour long. They usually go an hour to an hour and 45 minutes when I don't break them up anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna break up this one. Let's see. And then we'll come back. Stay tuned if you're watching live. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.